It is one of the most viral quotes in internet history. Attributed to Fyodor Dostoevsky, tolerance will reach such a level that intelligent people will be banned from thinking so as not to offend the imbeciles. It feels like a perfect prophecy for modern society. It has been shared by millions. There is just one problem. Dostoevsky never wrote those words. The quote is a complete fiction. The real warning Dostoevsky actually wrote about intelligent people and their capacity for self-destruction is far more unsettling. And unlike the fake quote, his prediction is terrifyingly precise. The quote first appeared online around 2010, with no presence in any of Dostoevsky's novels, letters, or diaries. Its earliest known form was a line from a 2011 blog post criticizing political correctness, later condensed into an image macro. The author's name was stripped away, and Dostoevsky's was stamped on top. The misattribution transformed a mundane opinion into a profound warning from a literary giant. The quote spread because it names an anxiety that already exists. Many people feel that intelligent viewpoints are being silenced in favor of protecting the feelings of the less capable. The fake quote validates that feeling with the weight of a 19th century genius. It offers a clean, satisfying explanation for a messy cultural conflict. The intelligent are being suppressed by the imbeciles. But this narrative flatters the reader by placing them on the side of the persecuted genius. The real Dostoevsky would have rejected this story outright. He did not write about intelligent people being destroyed by external fools. He wrote about intelligent people destroying themselves. In his novels, the most educated and rational characters often end up in the worst spiritual ruin. Their intelligence does not save them. It traps them. The quote the internet made up is comforting because it assigns blame outward. The real Dostoevsky is uncomfortable because he points the finger inward. In 1864, Dostoevsky published a novella that introduced the archetype of self-destructive intelligence. Its narrator is never named. He is simply the underground man, and he opens his confession with one of the most jarring lines in literature. I am a sick man, I am a wicked man, an unattractive man. He is a 40-year-old former civil servant who has completely withdrawn from the world. He lives in a cramped basement apartment in St. Petersburg, surrounded by his own filth. He is hyper-intelligent. He reads widely, thinks constantly, and can dissect every social encounter and psychological impulse with surgical precision. But none of this helps him. It only makes him more miserable. The underground man is acutely aware of every one of his flaws, his spite, his vanity, his cowardice. He knows he is wasting his life, but he cannot force himself to act. Any action he considers feels fake, predetermined, or humiliating. So he does nothing. He sits in his room and constructs elaborate intellectual justifications for his paralysis. His intelligence becomes a prison, and he takes a dark pleasure in this condition. He calls it the enjoyment of despair. He is proud of his suffering because it proves he is more perceptive than the naive people who simply live. But this pride is just another layer of self-deception. He is trapped in a cycle of thought that feeds on itself and leads nowhere. This is the real Dostoevskian prediction. While the viral quote places the threat outside, the underground man reveals the threat within. His mind, cut off from any grounding in faith, love, or action, turns inward and consumes him. He is not destroyed by imbeciles. He is destroyed by his own intelligence. The underground man's core problem is hyperconsciousness. He dissects every action from 10 different angles before he can even lift a finger. Where a normal person might feel anger and act, he analyzes his anger, questions its authenticity, and wonders if he is just performing for an imaginary audience. By the time he finishes this loop, the moment for action has passed. He calls this state acute consciousness and describes it as a disease. He openly envies the man of action, the direct person who simply does things because he believes in them. The man of action is usually narrow-minded, but that narrowness is a gift. It lets him move forward without doubting himself. The underground man is too intelligent for that kind of confidence. He sees every flaw in every plan, every hidden motive behind every impulse, every future regret for every decision. So he stays frozen. But his intelligence does not only paralyze him, it also rebels. When the utopian thinkers of his era proposed a perfect society, symbolized by the Crystal Palace, a structure of glass and iron representing total rational order, the underground man rejects it outright. He argues that humans do not truly want a world where every need is met and every action follows reason. What they want is the freedom to choose irrationality. He says he would rather be miserable and exercise his own stupid will than live in a paradise where his choices are already optimized for him. He would deliberately sabotage his own happiness just to prove he is not a cog in a machine. This leads to the stone wall metaphor. The stone wall represents natural laws. 2 plus 2 equals 4. You cannot smash your head through solid stone. Reason forces you to accept these limits. But the underground man hates this forced acceptance. He wants to smash his head against the wall out of pure spite, even though it will only hurt him. He knows it is pointless, but that is exactly the point. The irrational act, the self-destructive act, is his only proof that he has free will. His intelligence shows him the wall clearly. It also shows him that defiance is futile. But he chooses defiance anyway. That is the trap. He can see the right path, but he cannot walk it. So he attacks the path instead. What Dostoevsky captured through fiction, modern psychology has since confirmed through research. The underground man's hyperconsciousness maps directly onto a well-documented cognitive pattern, overthinking that produces paralysis and self-sabotage. The link between high intelligence and inaction is not coincidental. An analytical mind craves certainty. It wants to predict every variable before committing to a course of action. But real life never offers complete information. So the mind stays in a loop of analysis, searching for a solution that does not exist. This creates perfectionism. If you cannot do it perfectly, you must not do it at all. That standard guarantees failure before you start, so you never start. But self-sabotage runs deeper than perfectionism. It is often a defense mechanism. Failure is painful, but it is familiar. Success brings visibility, higher expectations, and the risk of being exposed as an imposter. The subconscious chooses failure because it feels safer. It restores a sense of control. If you deliberately underperform, you are still the one in charge. You are not at the mercy of a world that might judge you and find you lacking. At the core of this pattern lives the harsh inner critic. The same intelligence that deconstructs others can deconstruct the self. Every achievement becomes an anomaly to be dismissed. Every setback becomes confirmation of worthlessness. This is not honest self-assessment. It is a prison built from the very tool that should set you free. Today, the underground man's paralysis has new costumes. It appears in high-achieving professionals who stall at the edge of a promotion, paralyzed by the fear of new responsibilities. It appears in students who shift majors multiple times because no field meets their standard of certainty. The result is the same: inaction disguised as thoroughness. This pattern extends beyond decisions. Intellectual stimulation becomes a substitute for emotional life. The overthinker consumes endless content, podcasts, books, debates, using intellect as a wall against vulnerability. Relationships are studied but never pursued. Knowledge accumulates, but connection remains absent. Socially, this leads to a distinct isolation. Interactions are treated as problems to be decoded rather than moments to be shared. The overthinker sees themselves as too complex for simple conversation, yet that perceived depth cuts them off. Research confirms that higher intelligence correlates with smaller social circles and greater loneliness. The most severe outcome of this pattern is documented in the suicide paradox. Long-term studies show that higher childhood IQ predicts increased suicide risk in adulthood. The same analytical machinery that solves complex problems can eventually make a case against continued existence. When every future path is analyzed into futility, the very will to move forward can collapse. But Dostoevsky's later works reveal the way out. Characters like Sonia in Crime and Punishment and Alyosha in The Brothers Karamazov embody a different intelligence. They act despite incomplete knowledge. The healthiest choice is often the one taken before analysis finishes. Embrace irrational action. A wrong decision executed is more life-giving than a perfect one never started. Next, they prioritize connection. The isolated intellect cannot heal itself. It requires another person. Modern research confirms that strong relationships are the single strongest predictor of mental health. Reach out. Risk vulnerability. The mind that turns outward begins to escape its own prison. Finally, meaning. The rational mind alone cannot generate purpose. It can only dissect. Dostoevsky pointed toward faith and love as forces that transcend pure logic. You must believe in something larger than your own analysis. Commit to a cause, a craft, or a community. Let that pull you out of the underground. Dostoevsky's insight endures. Intelligent people are not banned from thinking, they destroy themselves from within. The question now is personal. Are you using your intelligence to build or to sabotage? Thank you for watching. Share your answer in the comments.